Good evening. You're watching the news from the CYBC Nicosia. On Friday, April 18th, the heads of the technical committees and working groups will start their work following a brief ceremony at the United Nations protected area at the Old Nicosia Airport. According to an UNFICYP statement, the representatives of the Greek Cypriot leader Dimitris Christofias and the Turkish Cypriot leader Mehmet Ali Talat, George Yakovu and Özdil Nami have, after a series of meetings, decided on the agendas of the 6 working groups and 7 technical committees agreed by the leaders at the March 21st meeting. Acting Special Representative of the Secretary General and head of UNFICYP in Cyprus, Elizabeth Spehar, will preside over the event on Friday, also featuring brief statements from the representatives of the leaders. The government expressed the expectation that the technical committees and working groups will be productive so that the 2 sides in Cyprus can go through to the second phase, which is full-fledged negotiations. Spokesman Stefanos Stefanu made clear that if certain differences in the procedure are not bridged, then even if negotiations begin, the most likely scenario is that they will end in failure. Mr. Stefanu noted that the Greek Cypriot side aims at success in the negotiations with a settlement on the basis of a bi-zonal, bi-communal federation as agreed in 1977 and 1979 and reaffirmed 2 years ago by the 8th of July agreement. Commenting on the concerns on the possible return of the Annan plan, the government spokesman stressed that this plan belongs in the past and cannot, therefore, constitute a basis for negotiations. Assistant UN Secretary General Lynn Pascoe gave a positive and optimistic outlook of his contacts in Nicosia, Athens, and Ankara during a briefing last night of Security Council members behind closed doors, in which he presented his report. According to our correspondent in New York, Apostolis Zouvaniotis, speaking after the meeting, Mr. Pascoe said that if there is progress in technical committees and working groups, then there's the prospect of a UN Chief's Special Envoy on Cyprus being appointed in 3 months. He further said that a settlement should be based on existing UN agreements, resolutions, and plans. The Assistant UN Secretary General noted that there are many difficult issues that need to be resolved, but expressed the conviction that the procedure will continue. According to our correspondent, the UN Secretary Council members were happy about the fact that the 2 sides in Cyprus have taken the procedure into their own hands. Commenting on the Pascoe statement, Presidential Commissioner George Yakovu said that the settlement of the Cyprus issue should be found on the basis of UN resolutions and high-level agreements which bind both sides. He added that previous plans and ideas have no real place in the current procedure of reaching a settlement. Mr. Yakovu said, however, that previous UN resolutions, of course, are valid and can't be considered non-existent as they refer to the basis of the settlement of the Cyprus issue, which is the bi-zonal, bi-communal federation. Meanwhile, U.S. Foreign Secretary Condoleezza Rice expressed the view that there's a new spirit in Cyprus. In an address at the 27th Turkish-American Relations Conference in Washington, Rice further said that her country strongly supports the UN procedure on the Cyprus issue and will be very active diplomatically as it was the last time around. The American Foreign Secretary added that the U.S. was genuinely disappointed a few years ago when Kofi Annan's efforts failed. They did note, however, that the Turkish government supported the settlement offered back then. Therefore, the United States made small steps, as she said, in order to facilitate the end of the so-called isolation of the Turkish Cypriots. Mrs. Rice said that this is a more hopeful period with more hopeful signs, but in the end, certain tough choices will have to be made.